Okay. When I was a Lilly rep and they're talking about Prozac and we're going to cure depression, and depression's caused by a serotonin chemical imbalance in the brain. We now know all that's hogwash. We don't really know what was causing the depression, the anxiety, and all these cascade effects. In their own retrospective studies of every SSRI on the market, what we now see is on a 52-point depression scale, SSRIs score 2 points higher than placebo. 2 points higher. It's not statistically relevant. It fails to differentiate statistically from placebo. There are two things that do differentiate from placebo. Exercise is 5 times more potent than placebo or an antidepressant in studies. Red light therapy is even higher, 2 times higher than any antidepressant that's ever hit the market. But now you've put a person in a chemical straitjacket where you have wrecked their system. You have now created more harm than good. And so step 1 in medicine, do no harm, right? Step 1 for the FDA, make sure these drugs are safe. They're not safe. Even there were lawsuits in the early days of suicidal ideation and violent thoughts because a lot of the pharmaceutical companies tried to hide that they were seeing in trials that children were having suicidal and violent thoughts in the early days of being on SSRIs.
Yeah.
Because it numbs the emotions. It shuts down the emotional response. It damages relationships. These are catastrophic things that you're giving these people for what?
They're also connected.
You got 200 hard hitters trying to fight 80,000 people that have been co-opted. And I'm not there to say all those people are bad. There's a lot of good things that have been done at all of these organizations. But there's also a natural innate bias when a big chunk of your funding pivoted in the 90s, where over 60% of the FDA's funding is based off fee schedules. And those fee schedules generate the revenue that create your jobs. And you have an open door policy to meet with the FDA, but you're not meeting with compounders. And you're not reading the emails from compounders, right? And so when I told the FDA, what made you decide this backlog was over? They said, well, industry told us they could meet the need. And I said, okay, well, did you see the email I sent you where we contacted over 30,000 pharmacies for 12 months and they can't meet the need? Less than 6% of prescriptions were available. They cannot meet the need. They're going to force people to higher dosages, and it's going to cause a catastrophic health consequence to the American people. And when the FDA is only hearing one side of the story and 60% of their funding comes from industry, what you will see is time and time again, they side with industry. So the FDA defaulted right before to their generic answer, right before Secretary Kennedy and Donald Trump took control. They expired the exemption that was allowing compounding pharmacies to make cost-effective alternatives that patients could utilize. And this is crucial. The reason that you're seeing side effects, the reason you're seeing this cascade effect of issues is because they are not treating patients with the most efficacious dose for that patient. They're treating patients with the dosage that reimburses the highest reimbursement rate on the insurance formulary. And I can prove this. They are overdosing people literally, they're not taking the time to do the consult to educate the patient on diet, lifestyle, and nutrition. There is zero doubt that GLP-1s are overutilized in America. There's zero doubt that they should not be a frontline defense. There is zero doubt that they don't come with some sort of risk factors. But most of those risk factors are found in higher dosages. So why would you start a patient on a higher dosage? Why would you rapidly titrate them up to a higher dosage where you're causing catastrophic muscle loss? It's because it reimburses more. It's not because it's what's better for the patient. It's because it's what's better for Wall Street. Jesus. And I hope it motivates other people. Like, you can get the weight off. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a GLP-1. Right. It doesn't have to be. And even those, like, this is where it's nuanced. Like, I understand the backlash against GLP-1s, but when titrated down and unique and proprietary to a dosage unique to that patient, and when stacked with things like hormone optimization and, IGF, we can burn that fat off and maintain lean muscle mass. And we're quantifying it because we have a DEXA at the clinic. So anybody who comes in, we run them through a DEXA now. We know their lean muscle mass, their body fat, and the goal is to preserve muscle. Because I would argue more important than getting the body fat off, and this is the pivot that I've tried to get Jelly Roll to and other folks, the fat's going to come off. Let's focus on building muscle. if we can build muscle and help build leg strength and help put muscle on your frame, that is going to increase your metabolic burn rate. That is going to put you in a better position for long-term health. Don't make it all about the scale.
Right.
Make it about your body composition and how can we transition that composition to optimize lean muscle, minimize visceral and subcutaneous fat. But we don't want to give up a pound of muscle.
Right.